So a few months ago, I decided to go ahead and install this guy on my detailing rig, and ever since I have gotten a question about it almost every single week, whether it's here on the YouTube channel or it is in person with my clients. So today we're going to be talking about how I power my detailing rig and my preferred way of powering my equipment when I'm out doing a mobile detail. So let's not waste any time, let's get straight into it. Yo, what is up guys? Jamie from Jamie's Detailing. Today we are talking about how to power your equipment for mobile detailers. Now when it comes to powering your guys' equipment for mobile detailing, there are definitely a few different options to go with. Option number one, you guys could go with a generator setup. Now a generator setup is one of the most expensive options, but it also allows you guys to work absolutely anywhere. Having a generator is also typically going to allow you to run more equipment at once. So if you guys are looking to run multiple pieces of equipment, you guys want to run your pressure washer and you guys want to run your air compressor at the exact same time, most of the time you guys are going to need more than 15 amps, and a generator typically is going to allow you to do 20-30 amps at a time, even on some of the less expensive units. So having a generator, you have the advantage of being able to work absolutely anywhere, and you guys have the advantage of being able to run multiple tools at a time. Kind of along with the generator, which is a newer option, is a power station of some sort. These are any type of, battery power station that you guys can power multiple devices at once, just like a generator, but unlike a generator fills up with gas, where a power station, you guys are going to need to charge that guy when you guys are back at your home garage or back at your garage space of some sort. So you're always going to have to charge that thing up, and me personally, I don't want to run a power station, at least not yet, because they are extremely expensive, and once you're out of power, you're pretty much out of power until you go ahead and recharge that device. So for me personally, a power station is just not the best option, and I'd rather go with a generator over a power station. Now the third option that you really don't see a lot of people doing is an inverter setup. Now an inverter setup would definitely work, but typically you need to have a specialty alternator or an upgraded alternator to run some of these bigger inverters. So I really don't see a lot of people in the detailing space running an inverter for their pressure washer, for their air compressor, or really any of the tools that they're running, but that always could be an option. Now I think that this is the most inefficient option, because not only are you guys having to run your vehicle, but you're having to run your vehicle to power the inverter, and yeah, that just I'd rather have a generator than having to actually run my vehicle the whole time. You're going to be putting more wear and tear on your vehicle, more idle hours, and all of that type of stuff. Now, the fourth option that you guys have, and there may be some other options out there that I don't know about, but the fourth option that you guys have, which is the way that I actually power all the equipment in my vehicle, and that is to use shore power or to use your client's power. So me personally, guys, I work in a lot of, nice neighborhoods. I work in a lot of newer, new construction type apartment complexes or condos. A lot of these tend to be a little bit more upscale gated communities. And for me personally, I want to be as quiet as possible when I'm out detailing in these different locations. One, me personally, I just don't like having all the noise when I'm out there doing a detail. I'd rather be detailing in the nice peace and quiet than detailing with my air compressor running, my, generator running, and all this other stuff. I already have my equipment that makes enough noise. I don't want to be running a generator out on site for 6 hours if I'm doing a big detail or something like that. It just becomes a little bit too intrusive to my actual clients. If I'm out in a driveway working, I don't want to be running a generator all day at 80-90 decibels, or even some of the quiet ones are running at like 65 decibels or so. It's just more noise to add to the already noisy pressure washer. My air compressor is pretty quiet at like 60 decibels or so, but the quieter I can be when I'm out detailing, the more the nicer it is for me as a detailer, and the nicer it is for my average client. So being able to hook up to shore power for me is a huge advantage just because I'm not dealing with all of the sound. Now, one negative side of shore power is you can really only run one tool at a time. Sometimes I can run two tools at a time, but it highly depends on the amperage of the tools. So you guys may need to look up the amperage of your tools and see, hey, can I run this tool and this tool at the same time? Or can I run my air compressor and my vacuum at the same time? You guys are gonna have to look into that and see how many amps those units are going to be combined to see if it's going to be going over 15 amps. Your typical plug in your garage, your garage space, or a typical porch plug, or your typical plug, well, not at a business. At a business, most things are going to be 20 amps, but most plugs are going to be 15 amps that you guys are going to come across. And in that case, you guys are really only going to be able to run one tool or so. Now for me, this is totally fine, and I can totally work around that most of the time, and it really doesn't bother me to only be able to run one tool at a time. And the way that I'm able to do that and manage that extremely easily is I actually use this guy right here. This is a remote that actually powers 3 separate switches. Now, each one of those switches is actually on one of these buttons. So right here, button number 1, I have set up to be my actual power plug right here. Button number 2 is my pressure washer. So this will actually power up my pressure washer, and button number 3 is my air compressor. So all 3 of these pieces of equipment are on separate switches, and that allows me to only turn on one device at a time when I need it. So if I need my air compressor, I can power on my air compressor real quick. It's already charged up right now, so it's not going to turn on and off. Now number 2 on here is my pressure washer. So if I hit number 2, my pressure washer primes up, and then I'm ready to go with my pressure washer. And this makes it really easy. I can just turn everything off, and then I can just power one thing on at a time at the time that I need it. So it makes it really, really easy. When I have my vacuum plugged in, I actually don't even need to go over to my vacuum every time to turn it on and off. I can just leave it permanently on, and then anytime I want to turn on my vacuum, I just hit the power button to my vacuum, and my vacuum powers right up. So this, for me personally, guys, for me working mobilely every day, this has been a huge, huge, huge time saver. I already have every single thing I need set up in the vehicle, just like you would see with a lot of people running generator setups. But instead of having the generator, I hook up to shore power, and I made this super, super easy on myself by buying this guy right here. This is a shore power plug. This will actually allow you guys to drill a tiny little 2-inch hole anywhere that you guys want on your vehicle. I would always recommend drilling it on the passenger side of your vehicle or the curb side of your vehicle. That way, if you guys are parking at the curb and you guys are running, let's say a 50-foot extension cord, a 100-foot extension cord out to your vehicle, you guys can just plug it in right here, and then everything in your vehicle powers right up. So you guys can see when I unplug the vehicle, everything kind of shuts down right. But when I first plug in the vehicle, you guys can see that we have our lights here that are going to turn on, and we have our charger that also turns on. So I have those plugged into one of these plugs, just a little splitter on there, but these are permanently plugged into one of the plugs. That way, every time I plug in my vehicle, my batteries start charging right away, and I have lights on. So if I'm like refilling my stuff at night or something like that, I can see what I'm doing. Or if I'm just working in a dark location, I can see what I'm doing. But this works super, super good for me so far. And the other plug right here, I have going to another splitter, and that splitter goes to my 3 remote operated switches. So this guy right here, guys, has been super, super nice. I used to actually not be able to close this guy because I would have, like, you know, extension cords and stuff coming out of here. But now But now with this Shure power plug, I'm actually able to just plug in my device. I can have the trunk closed and all that kind of stuff. This thing is just super, super, super convenient to have. And if I did want to run a generator now, I could literally just put my generator right on the outside of my vehicle and plug in right here like I would plug into Shure power. So this is a super, super, super nice option to have. And one thing that you guys have to add to this, if you guys do want to go to the Shure power route, is you guys gotta get some kind of GFCI switch that actually goes inside of your vehicle. Now I had this one just kind of laying around at my house, so this is the one that I've been using. This is just a 15 amp GFCI switch, and anytime that, let's say I accidentally turned on my vacuum and my air compressor, or my vacuum and my pressure washer at the same time, I already know that that combination, pretty much my vacuum with anything, is gonna be over 15 amps. So if I was to accidentally turn two things on with my remote at the exact same time and I tripped a breaker, it's just gonna trip the breaker inside of this instead of tripping the breaker at my client's location. So I wouldn't have to go down to the basement to like go find their fuse box, or I wouldn't have to go search for it inside of their business location to try to find the actual, you know, breakers for the plug that I'm plugging into. This way, this does all the protecting for me, and I don't have to worry about tripping any breakers or tripping the client's GFCI switches and stuff like that. So this guy right here works super, super good, and ever since I installed this guy, I only had one time that I tripped a breaker at a client's house, but ever since then, I went out and I picked this, well, ever since then, I found this at my house and remembered I had it, plugged it in, and I have not had a single issue with power yet. I've had a few times when I've tripped this guy, but this guy, you literally just hit the reset button and it's good to go. So I have loved this setup right here, guys. You're pretty much just going a plug to a GFCI switch, and then your GFCI switch, you guys can route out to whatever other equipment you want. I have mine a short little couple feet extension cord going to the center of my vehicle, and then from there I have my 3 remote switches actually plugged into that extension cord with a little 3-way splitter. But I'm only pulling one tool at a time, so I don't really need to worry about how many things I actually have plugged into here, as long as I have everything on that remote and I remember not to turn on multiple things at a time. And then even if I do, it's just a quick little switch away, and it takes 2 seconds to fix that. So this, for me, guys, has been an awesome solution over the past 3 years. The past 3 years, I've always used my client's power. I've not had any clients complain about it. I haven't had any clients say, hey, I can't hire you because you're using main power supply instead of bringing a generator. In fact, I've actually had a lot of clients comment to me about how pleasurable it was to actually work with me. I wasn't too loud, I wasn't anything like that. So I actually really prefer not having a generator. If I was doing a lot more fleet detailing and stuff like that, or working with dealership accounts and stuff, then I would totally get a generator. But because I primarily only work with regular vehicles, I primarily am only working with daily drivers, regular vehicles of that type. Really the only time that I haven't even needed it for that yet, but when I'm detailing semi-trucks, I do want to be a little bit more flexible so that I can go out to different lots to clean semi-trucks for a day, stuff like that. But for right now, and for the first 3 years that I've started my business, guys, I have not felt the need at all to get a generator. Even the other day, I went to a massive yard to go clean a semi-truck and interior detail on a semi-truck, and they had power like within 5 feet of where they had the truck parked. So the power situation, guys, there are going to be a lot of people out there who are like, oh, you're not a real detailer if you don't have a generator or if you don't have a power station in your vehicle or whatever the case may be. But honestly, guys, you really don't need to have a generator, especially if you are getting your business started. I would suggest maximizing those profits, and when you really need a generator, you guys are really going to know that you need to pick up a generator and start using a generator moving forward, or for certain accounts that you guys are picking up. But you guys are not going to need a generator for every single detail, and it may be something that you want to carry with you, but I would still prefer to have this as an option of hooking up to shore power and being a little bit quieter when I'm actually out doing a detail. So anyways, guys, let me know down in the comment section down below. Let me know what your favorite source of power is. Do you guys like using shore power? Do you guys like using a generator? Or are you guys rocking one of the newer power stations? And if you are rocking a power station, which one are you using? But anyways, guys, that is pretty much all that I had for today's video. You really don't need a generator in order to start your mobile detailing business, or if you guys are just looking to do this on the side as a hobby or a side hustle of some sort, you don't need a generator. You don't even need all the equipment that I have. I would recommend finding your service, figuring out what is included in that service, and buying tools and equipment that you need in order to conduct that particular service. So anyways, guys, that is all that I had for today's video. Let me know in the comments how you guys are powering your guys' detailing rigs or your detailing setups. But yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.